Now, the rest of the story. Joseph Gompers had been friends with Lawrence Hummel longer than with anyone, 58 years in fact. So it came as no surprise to Joseph when Mr. Hummel left the bulk of his fortune to Bethany College. Hummel was 82 when he died, had been associated with the college for 30 years, and in the will the respected West Virginia institution was designated to receive $1 million. And as I have said, Joe Gompers was rather expecting that. He had been Lawrence Hummel's attorney for decades. They had met during the Depression years, the 1930s. It was in 1930 that Lawrence Hummel's family owned a dairy farm. Hummel was 24, already running the place with an older brother. That same year, a little neighbor boy showed up asking if he could help out with chores, and the little neighbor boy's name was Joe Gompers. He was barely 6. Over the years that followed, little Joe took on more and more responsibilities around the farm, and he and Larry Hummel got to be good friends. "Want to be a farmer full-time someday?" Hummel once asked the youngster. Little Joe said, well, he didn't know, never then imagining how differently his life would turn out. For eventually, Joe Gompers went to law school, joined a reputable Wheeling law firm, became a senior partner with a prestigious practice. And as by now you know, Joe's most valued client was Lawrence Hummel. By then, Mr. Hummel was associated with Bethany College, a local private school with about 800 students. No longer in the dairy business, Hummel had become somewhat of a Wall Street whiz, had made a fortune in the stock market. The market was all he talked about. With economics professors at Bethany, with the dean of faculty, with anybody and everybody. Otherwise, Hummel's face stayed buried in the Wall Street Journal. All of the while, his attorney and best friend, Joe Gompers, was concerned about him. "Why don't you enjoy life?" Joe kept insisting. But the stock market was Lawrence Hummel's enjoyment, and there could be no enjoyment without it. It was March 22, 1988, that the elder investor passed away and passed his fortune on to Bethany College, $1 million. Attorney Joe Gompers saw it coming, and yet absolutely nobody else in the world did. For when Larry Hummel's mother died in 1952, he left the family dairy farm. He just disappeared for years and then resurfaced in Wheeling at Bethany College asking for a job. No, not a position. He was asking for a job, and he stayed with that job for the next 30 years, investing in the stock market with savings from his meager earnings, a hobby the extent of which was known only to his best friend, Joe Gompers. Other people with whom Larry Hummel discussed stocks in general scarcely took him seriously. But who, among the faculty or the administration of Bethany College, who could possibly have imagined such phenomenal financial success from the investments, from the pennies, from the humble savings of Larry Hummel, the school's good-natured, unpretentious, always shabbily dressed janitor? And now you know the rest of the story.
And now the rest of the story. You know, this is just another example why we should never judge a book by its cover. Lawrence's friends called him Larry, and Larry's book cover was his job, not position, but his job as janitor. No one took his discussions on the stock market or economy seriously. But through the years, Larry acquired numerous shares of stock from companies such as Brooklyn Union Gas Company, Sterling Drugs, and several railroads. Larry visited the college library every evening to read the Wall Street Journal. John Taylor, who began teaching English at Bethany College in 1955, said one day a carload of lawyers visited the college and asked to speak with Larry. John was shocked to learn the reason for their visit. The New York Central Railroad was considering a merger with another company. Larry owned so many shares of stock in the company that they figured it was only appropriate to discuss the proposal with Larry, and in person. Larry once advised former Bethany president William Tucker to invest all of the college endowment in railroad stocks. But the former president did not take Larry's advice. In addition to the money he left Bethany College, Larry's will stipulated that $400,000 would be set aside in a trust fund for maintenance of a life support system for a sick nephew, and 2 other nephews and a niece were to receive $2,000 apiece. The rest went to the college. Todd Bullard, president of the college, says he was elated over the bequest. It is very unusual, he said, that such a person would choose to leave his life accumulation to the college. This is probably unique to American higher education. I think we were all surprised, and pleasantly so. Larry worked at Bethany College until 1984, when his health deteriorated to the point that he had to be put into a nursing home. 82-year-old Lawrence Raymond Hummel died on March 22, 1988. He had never married and had no children. So why did Larry, the janitor, leave most of his fortune to the college? People described him as a loner by and large. It did not trust strangers. The college and its students were not strangers to Larry. Joe, Larry's attorney, said he just loved the place. He took a lot of pride in the fact that he had friends there. He considered them his family. He enjoyed being around the students. Larry liked to spend time with the students in the snack bar where they discussed business, finance, and the stock market. The students didn't make fun of him, but didn't take him seriously either. Now, we all know someone whom we quickly discount because of the way they dress or the way they talk, or maybe their job, as it was in Larry's case. Just think of all of the economic advice he gave students, faculty, and friends through the years, advice that went unheeded. Had they taken him seriously, they probably all would have fat bank accounts by now. But having a fat bank account isn't everything. We should take people like Larry seriously because they may have something important to say. If we don't listen, we cannot hear. I'm Brad Dison. Thanks for watching. And as Paul Harvey would say, good day.